All right, I'm going to call the Tuesday, May 6, 2025 meeting of the East Long Meadow Planning Board to order. By roll, well, first thing I need to do, is there anyone here who might be recording the meeting or on Zoom? If so, please state the method in which you're recording the meeting. Hearing or seeing none. We'll do the roll call.
Pete Punderson.
Bill Fonseca.
Russell Denver.
Cassandra Chair-Swallow.
And we're joined by Planning Director Rob Frachilla. Frachilla, thank you. Okay, I like that. Okay. So we are not going to be doing approval of the last meeting minutes this evening. So who would like to act as clerk?
Oh, I'll do it.
Mr. Fonseca.
Okay, case ZN 2025-03, a proposed amendment to subsection 450-3.3, additional use, dimension, and density regulations of the East Long Meadow zoning bylaw to add a new subsection 450-3.3 A10, introducing regulations on unused motor vehicle sales, not including car dealerships and car auctions on private property.
This is a public hearing, so do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of opening public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is open.
All those opposed, say nay.
All those opposed, well, I heard 4 yeses, so remember, I did go to Cathedral, so.
So did I, so we're all in trouble.
Rob,
Yes,
want to set the table on this, please?
sure. I'm about to share my screen.
Okay.
It might be hard to see, but I can zoom in a little bit.
Okay,
All right, so this proposed amendment is an addition to Article 3, which is use regulations. This would go into subsection 3.3, which is titled Additional Use, Dimensional, and Density Regulations. So the addition is at the bottom of the page here, which you all should have a copy of. And what we're inserting is this new subsection called subsection 10, titled Used Motor Vehicle Sales on Private Property. So what this section is seeking to do is to limit the number of privately owned vehicles, which also include motorcycles, off-road vehicles, and recreational vehicles, so boats, RVs, campers, and similar other types of vehicles. For sale on private property, so residential property or commercial, not a car dealership. So car dealerships are not being governed by this new regulation. This is just individuals who are trying to sell their own personal private property, which is a vehicle, to somebody else. And the way the regulation is worded here is that you cannot have a vehicle listed for sale for more than 21 days at a time. And you are only allowed to have one vehicle at a time posted for sale on the property. And you're not allowed to have more than 2 vehicles in a calendar year posted for sale. So, Mr. Chair, did you want me to go through the text and read it exactly? Because it's that one section? No? Okay. That's all I had.
okay. Any questions? So we did discuss this at a previous meeting. We vetted out the time frame. I think we got it down,
Yeah.
To
I
where
think it's great.
it's a good,
Yeah, this captures what our discussion was.
There was a guy on Shaker Road that would have one vehicle after another, that he did not own for sale on his property.
I do want to reiterate, this doesn't affect used car dealers, car auctions, anybody that has a Class 2 license that has the right to do this.
We understand that.
So, this is people who have the right to sell their own vehicle if they want to on their own property. We're just limiting the amount number that they can do in a year.
Good.
And so it's 21 days total that you can do with either vehicle, correct?
Correct, per vehicle.
Yeah.
So technically, between 2 vehicles, it's 42 days a year,
One at a time.
one at a time.
one at a time.
So the motion should be passage and referral to the town council.
Yep, so you are voting to approve the amendment with your recommendations that you're going to send to the town council.
So do I have a motion to approve the amendment and move it on to town council?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Hearing none. This matter passes. Mr. Clerk, Mr. Interim Clerk.
Okay. ANR 2025-03, request to endorse a plan of land reconfiguring pre-existing parcels into 3 new parcels at 286 Maple Street, parcel ID 6-128-F and 6-128-G, Residence B zoning district. Applicant Brown Meadow LLC, 554 Summers Road, East Long Meadow.
Hi.
So the idea here is there are 3 existing parcels. 2 fronting on Chestnut Street, 1 fronting on Maple Street, all in common ownership, and all they're doing really is kind of a lot line reconfiguration, changing some property lines around, not changing the frontage of any lot. All lots will be conforming in the zone, square footage and frontage, and just shifting some property lines in between. It was actually previously, the same concept plan was previously endorsed by the previous owner, but never recorded. They decided not to do it themselves and sold the property as is, so now it's being done by somebody else.
Answers that question.
Questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion to endorse the plan?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay.
Thank you, guys.
It's behind you, the sign after the meeting, so just do that on your way out.
Yeah, I'll grab those after. Thank you.
Next.
Yep.
Oakwood Estates request for a reduction in the performance guarantee on the subdivision known as Oakwood Estates.
So, Mr. Beretta was supposed to be here. He might be running late, but I will go ahead and start speaking on this. So last year you approved a covenant for Oakwood Estates, the subdivision. I believe that was actually last May, right when I started this job.
So that's the one, it's on Parker.
It's off of Parker, yep. And I
Oh, yeah.
believe he's putting in 12 houses there. And it was lots 3 to 13 that are under the covenant at the moment. So they have since completed the roadway. Myself and DPW and the building commissioner went to go check out the road. Did a fantastic job. The road's got a nice binder course on top. It's got good curbing. Manholes are protected and covered correctly. The catch basins are all tested and DPW satisfied with the utilities. So they are ready to start building. But there was one slight issue. So they had a covenant and a performance bond approved at the same time. So usually for subdivisions, we do one or the other. The covenant is usually given to an applicant when they don't have the money up front to put into an escrow account. The covenant holds the lots as collateral until they start building the roadway and they'll have the lots released. So because we have both effectively enacted, the applicant gave us a line of credit for over $1 million for the performance bond. But the performance bond was never recorded at the registry. The only thing that was recorded was the covenant. So in order for the applicant to start exercising the building permits to construct on the lots, which we are satisfied with the road enough to where they can start doing that. But mind you, they still have to put a top course on after they're done building houses. We recommend to the planning board that you entertain a release of their covenant in substitution of a performance bond for a reduced amount of around $500,000. And I can give you the exact amount as it's in your packet and in front of me.
Yep.
I also have documentation for the board to sign, as well as the applicant. If they're not coming tonight, I can have them do it tomorrow and then file both the registry deeds, and they can go ahead and continue the rest of their work. Just to give some background on what's in your packet. So there is I gave you a memo actually explaining what I just said to you. But to reiterate, the amount that they had before was $1,097,725, which is the letter of credit received from Munson Savings Bank. The new amount is $525,311. And that was requested from Felix Vachon, the water and sewer administrator for the DPW. That also includes a 20% contingency for any escalating costs that we didn't account initially. And yeah, he was satisfied with everything they put in. He did note that there's a few minor things they still have to do, including the top coat for the roadway.
Right.
But yeah, they are in a position to start doing their curb cuts and to start building houses.
I was by there today. They've already built a couple houses.
Those were the frontage lots that were on there.
Yeah.
So the lots that aren't in the covenant. So the remaining lots 3 to 13 have to be released in order for them to.
So there's nothing built on the road that went in. I did notice that the top coat wasn't on it too.
Yeah.
Binder, yeah.
So what the planning board's gonna have to do tonight is to vote to release the covenant in lieu of a performance bond. And then I can tell you the bond amount, you can include that in your vote. And once you do, we can sign the documentation afterwards, allowing for the town to still have the $500,000 as collateral in case anything goes south. We have not had any issues yet with this applicant. They've been very cooperative and they've done a really good job. So
So why don't you give us the motion?
sure, absolutely.
Someone will adopt it and then we'll.
Yeah,
So you could just so move my.
right, yes, I can.
All right, so the recommended motion I would make to the planning board, let me just pull that number back up, is to release the covenant on the Oakwood Estates subdivision and to accept in lieu of that a performance bond in the amount of $525,311 to be given to the town as a line of credit from a financial institution of the applicant's choosing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Say nay. There are none, so this item passes.
Perfect.
Okay,
I will definitely let the applicant know when I see them. and Get this squared away.
old business? I don't know of any.
I do have something that will go into the last minute item section.
Okay,
I think it's towards the end, right?
we are. We're now at Planning and Community Development Director's Report.
And I could probably bring it up afterwards, which will be fine. Okay, let me pull up my report. So I put in the next 6 meetings. As a reminder, June 3rd is a non-meeting day because of town elections.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mike. May 20th, I believe the chair is out of the States.
I am
And then
Chicago's out of the States.
out of state.
out of the state.
These,
Out of state. Just a heads up on May 20th, we do have a public hearing for both a special permit and site plan review to construct a 23,000 square foot building to be operated as an assisted living facility at 199 Denslow Road. The applicant is Live Oak Crossing out of 118 Brookhaven Drive, and they're in the industrial garden park zone. So that use is allowed by special permit. This is the first use to be considered in a petition in that district since the zone change. And the site plan review component is because they're doing non-commercial, non-residential construction of that size. So that's coming up in the works. No upcoming events that I'm aware of. That's why the section is blank. So other matters, projects and updates. So we do have a town council second reading on massage therapy zoning. That will be May 13th p.m. This is potentially the last public hearing they're going to have before they make their decision on the amendment. 330 Westwood Ave, special permit follow-up. So myself and the building commissioner will be going back out there to check to see if there are any last minute requests made by the owner to move materials and equipment to the rear of the property in the allotted zone that he's allowed to have it in, and to get rid of any unregistered vehicles because he's only allowed to have up to one per the zoning bylaws. Lastly, I have an update on, well, second to lastly, that survey I mentioned last time that's going to look at traffic intersection and multimodal safety on our roadways. I am working on creating that survey as we speak. I'm hoping to roll it out by the end of next week. This survey is only going to be 10 questions, not very long. There's going to be a digital copy as well as physical copies located at the library, senior center, and town hall in 2 locations, town clerk's office and the building department. There will be a QR code on the physical copies for those who wish to take the survey online. Those who do it physically can return it to the box and we can process it from there. The hopes of this whole survey is to understand where problem intersections or roadways are in town, so we can work on getting grant funding and with the DPW to alleviate the issues that arise from those areas. And this includes people complaining about lack of sidewalks somewhere, or it's hard to get around a certain roadway because of terrible design or anything like that. We're trying to get a general understanding so we can look at projects down the pipeline to consider grant funding for transportation. So that's the whole reason behind the survey. The last update I have is that for our comprehensive zoning,
Before you
Sure.
go
Yep.
off of that, so one thing I do notice walking around town is, the yellow pads that are at the intersection for the disabled or for the blind?
Yeah.
They are woefully in tough shape.
Destroyed.
They're destroyed.
okay, are you talking about what goes on the bottom
So
or
they're on the sidewalk, they're yellow,
okay,
they've got,
bumps on them?
The
Yeah.
bumps, yeah.
Yeah.
so all over town, they're in very tough shape.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Problem, I'll write that down.
So Rob, as I understand it, we're getting some grants from the state to redo some of the major arteries in East Long Meadow.
So we are getting DOT funding to do, I believe it's from the Rotary all the way down to Summers
Right?
on Summers Road. And I think it's for railway reconstruction and sidewalks. And then going north towards Springfield is a tip project.
Right.
So that's another one that's going to be coming in the next couple of years.
Isn't there Shaker Road also?
I don't think there's one for Shaker
I
Road.
heard the one about with North Main Street heading north.
Yeah, but there's the other one that was more recent. I don't think it's a tip project. It's a different,
Yeah, they're different funding.
But
sources, yeah.
my point was to get up the intersection stuff defined before you build a new roadway, so.
well, DOT approached us about that specific roadway and they said that it was time to consider doing funding for this, as to my knowledge. So we didn't really pick it or pitch it. They just told us, hey, if you want funding for this, we'll work with you on that.
Good.
I believe that's coming up in the next year or so. But yeah. Lastly, I have an update on the comprehensive zoning bylaw review, which we're gonna try to do at the same time as our bylaw review committee process on zoning. So we did award a contract to a firm called Barrett Planning Group. They're based out of Eastern Mass. This firm specializes in doing zoning bylaw overhauls and to look at areas of improvement, areas that could be modified, what we're doing good, what we can improve on, and trying to make it work for us as a town. So we met with them last week. We had a really good first meeting. They asked for all these different documents, different decisions, regulations from planning board and zoning board, as much information as possible so they can start doing their initial review. Seems like they're getting, hitting the ground running really fast. They understand our timeline. And yeah, we're really comfortable with them. They actually received a national award from the American Planning Association for Long Meadows Master Plan. So this firm has a really good reputation. We're hoping they give us good results and we should be expecting our first deliverable from them by the end of July, early August. So that's why I had for my director's report, but I do have one more item, Mr. Chair, if it's
Sure.
okay.
Yep.
So I'm sure you're all familiar with the site plan review that was awarded to Deer Park for the recycling center.
Yep.
So recently they told us there was a clerical error made on one of the conditions in the notice of decision. And so I'm gonna pull it out right now and read that specific condition to you, just so you know what it is. So the condition is condition 5B. It pertains to the number of trips generated on a daily basis. So it was recorded in this condition. Mind you, this decision was filed at the Registry of Deeds. It says here that truck trips generated from the operation of the site are limited to 60 trips per day, 60 trips in and 60 trips out. Any truck trips over this limit is considered a violation of the site plan approval. So the attorney who represented the applicant, attorney Josh Levine, made us aware that during the testimony in the minutes, it was actually voted, this condition was amended to be 68 trips in and out as opposed to 60. So the building commissioner and I did review the footage with him. We looked at the minutes and it was voted that that condition was in fact amended. So the condition should have said 68 as opposed to 60. So what has to happen now is that you as a board have to vote to accept this amended, corrected notice of decision. Once you vote to accept that with the modified condition on there, because it was written in there in error, you have to sign an affidavit saying that you can certify that your vote on this is accurate. And this is our town council producing these documents for us, helping us correct this error. You're not doing any sort of public hearing. Once you vote to accept and you sign the documents tonight before you leave, I file with the town clerk. There's no appeal period. As soon as I file with the town clerk, the applicant can submit it with the registry, both the decision and the affidavit, and correct this clerical error. So that's pretty much all I had.
So is there a motion that you want to
So
put
the
on?
motion that you
table?
want to make is to accept the corrected notice of decision, and I could tell you the permit. Or I could make the motion for you guys, and you could just.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right, so you're making a motion to accept the corrected notice of decision for site plan approval. Permit site 2023-03 for Deer Park Drive. The recorded applicant is Charles G. Arment Jr. and William T. Arment. You are correcting condition 5B to go from 60 trips in and out to 68 trips in and out to correct a clerical error, as well as vote to accept and sign an affidavit certifying that you have attested your vote and that is correct.
So move. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? So what is the current status through the state on this project?
They're doing their environmental review with MEPA, Mass Environmental Protection Association. And basically, it's a very rigorous process. They do it for any sort of recycling center and landfill. I believe they're still in their public hearing phase. They were receiving public comments for the past month and a half, back in February. It was noted, I guess this kind of fell under the radar and nobody noticed the error. This was actually filed with the registry of deeds a year after the approved permit, which is still within the limits. But yeah, I guess it was just missed. Josh Levine brought this up to us and he told us this was an error, but it was voted as such, and we have the evidence, and he brought it to us and we agree with him. So
So what, if any, town approvals are needed moving forward for this to happen?
none, I don't think they really need anything else. I think they went to Board of Health already. They've been the conservation. They have the approval from them. They have site plan review approval. The last one holding up is the state.
Is there any update on their train?
They're still working on it. I think now they're working with some organization in Connecticut to have it come through the area. So they're working on it now. I don't know how construction's going for that.
Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, say nay. Hearing none. That passes. Just, I noticed there are two individuals, maybe three, that are in on Zoom. I'm wondering if you have any questions or comments from this, for this board, and you wish to be heard. I'm Marilyn Richards. Okay, hearing none. Any other business?
Go ahead.
We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.